So let's look at how to construct an isosceles triangle. Right? And we're going to make an isosceles triangle that's where we have two sides that are exactly congruent. So by the way, let's define an isosceles triangle. So an isosceles triangle, it's a triangle with two congruent sides. And I should actually say at least two congruent sides, because an equilateral triangle is a type of isosceles triangle. So a triangle with at least two congruent sides. You can add that to your notes. I do apologize that your notes are a tad light. So you can maybe perhaps look up here. I think the words are okay. It's the pictures, and just maybe copy the pictures a little darker. So you're going to take your ruler or a straight edge and a pencil and just construct a segment of any length on a piece of paper shown below. Then you will open or close your compass opening to a distance bigger or smaller than segment AB. If we want it to only have two congruent sides, we don't want to actually have an isosceles triangle, you're going to make it bigger or smaller. It doesn't matter which it is, right? So long as you don't make it so small that two sides couldn't possibly reach one another, it doesn't matter what size you make it. Once you've opened up your compass, come on, change the page, there we go. You are going to draw an arc, or construction arc with your compass. You're going to place the compass on point A and construct an arc. It really doesn't matter above or below. I tend to not like my triangles looking like they're upside down, right? So I would construct the arc above, and then you're going to keep the compass exactly the same way and put the point of the compass, or the needle as it says up there, on the other point, on B, and you're going to draw an arc there. Did I move? There we go, sorry. So we have one from A and one from B. And the two arcs should meet as shown below. And your last step is to draw the segments using your ruler or straight edge from the two endpoints to the point where the two arcs intersect. And you are guaranteed to have an isosceles triangle. All right, so let's take and look at those steps where it says, now you try. So you're going to do the same thing. Do it along with me or afterwards. All right, so I need a line segment. All right, so maybe this time, I still don't like it that thick. If I don't have to have that line that thick, I'd prefer it not be quite that thick. Let's make it that thick. All right, and so that's how big my line segment happens to be. I need a compass. Right? Where's the compass? Right, so I don't want to make it too small. Right, and maybe that size. Right? Oh, I forgot to make my endpoints. Well, maybe that size. Right, so let's have point A and point B. And I put the point of the compass there on point A. And I draw an arc. I draw a nice big arc. So I have issues sometimes with them not connecting because I make too small an arc. And so now we're going to move this compass over to point B. Okay, but in my case, I'm also going to have to flip the compass over. Not that far over. All right, and so now I'm going to draw an arc from point B. Oops. For a compass. Oh. And I should have drawn a bigger arc, apparently. And so fortunately for me, I can just, oops. So if that happens, put your compass back on point A, and this time, draw a longer arc. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to get a line tool. And I don't know if it would, can I draw it already so that it's not so thick? I think so. All right, so I'm going to, it didn't go away though. All right, so it should be to the, where the arcs intersect and go away. Good, it stayed. And to where the arcs intersect. And there we have an isosceles triangle. Looks a little odd though, just because my arcs are two different lengths. It's like visually, I don't like that. But if I stand in front of it instead of to the side, it indeed is an isosceles triangle. And so this side, let's add a point up here. So this will be point C. Because my point's not where I wanted it to be. There we go. All right, so those two sides are congruent, right? So side AC is congruent to side BC. And those are line segments, so I'm going to add the segment mark, right? And why is that true? Well, remember we put the compass on point A and we drew an arc. So point C there is on the arc of the circle that was drawn from point A. And let's think what we did to get the other arc. All right, so we put the compass on point B. Right, so B is the center, right, of that arc that goes through where point C is. So AC is congruent to BC because they are both radii of congruent circles. So radii of congruent circles are congruent. Right, and so you can just put that right in your notes. Right, and that's all there is to the isosceles triangle. What if you wanted to make an equilateral triangle? All right, so an equilateral triangle has three congruent sides. In other words, its vertices are the same distance from each other. A compass can help us find the points that are the same distance from each other. All right, so these points here mark one of the sides of the triangle. You're going to draw a circle using, and you don't actually have to draw a full circle, right? Notice I don't have a full circle when I did this one. I could draw a part of a circle, right? Because notice if you're looking at my diagram way at the bottom there, you notice that a whole bunch of those circle isn't used at all. Just the middle of the circle is where the points intersect. Right? So you don't have to make a full circle. You could just make an arc. I just make it big enough though. All right, so draw a circle or a big arc using one of the points as a center, and then the other indicating the radius. So in this case, right, before I just picked any length I wanted, right, because I wanted two sides to be the same, and I didn't care if they were the same as side AB. In this case, we're going to want to make sure that all of the sides are the same as AB. Right? So one way we can make sure, right, is to make sure that when we put that compass on A and we draw a circle or arc, that it goes right through B. Right? So you need to draw your arc through B, but you don't have to come all the way around if you don't feel like it. Right? So now AB is a radius of a circle. Right? And now we kept our compass exactly the same, and we just moved it over to the other point. And so now A is the center, and B is the center, and we drew a circle through point A. That's the green circle. So now we have three radii of the circle, right? Because they're going from center to edge. So if we look at the last picture there, right? Center to edge for all of those, right? So our triangle is an equilateral triangle because all three sides are radii in those two congruent circles. Where the red is, and it says radius, sort of the bottom of the circle, right? That happens to be a radius for both the green circle and the blue circle. Right? So the one that's written in blue, that radius is for the blue circle, and the one that's written in green, that one is a radius for the green circle. Right? All right, so let's construct our equilateral triangle. And remember, all radii of the triangle are congruent. All right, so now I'm going to draw a line, use your straight edge. I still have that nice small line. That's such a thick line, that's nice. All right, so I'm going to label one as A and the other point as B. I got to make sure my compass goes, so I'm going to use a different color, goes through B. So it's open a little wide. All right, so that looks correct. All right, so now I'm going to draw my circle. Now, if I don't want a whole circle, maybe I don't have that much space on my paper, right, I could just draw an arc. All right, I just want to make it kind of big enough. So like half a circle would be fine. I don't really have to complete the circle because I don't really care what's on the other side of A. All right, so now I don't change my compass in any way. I just move it over. And I put it on point B. And we do the very same thing. And this time, it's going to go through point A. So I have to make sure, oops, go on, compass. I go through point A. Of course, I want to intersect the other circle on both sides, right? But I don't have to go any farther than that. So maybe I'll make it look the same as the other side. So I can stop there. So it's kind of easier to see on the other one, plus it was different colors, why we had radii of the circle. So if you wanted to be clear that they're radii, you could finish off the circle. All right, so I need my line tool. What am I doing? Grabbing a pen. All right, so now we're going to connect point A with, this will be point C, where these two arcs intersect. Oops. There we go, the two arcs intersect. Right. Oops, we're just shy. That dot though is throwing me off. I can't see. All right, I think that's about right. All right, so right here where the arcs intersect, so, whoops, my point's a little low. There we go. Oops, now it's too high. There we go. All right, so that's point C. All right, so now we have AB is congruent to BC, is congruent to, what did I say? AC, CA. All right, so all three sides there are congruent because those are radii all radii of a circle. As a matter of fact, these are radii of a circle congruent. These are radii of congruent circles. So let's add below, because two of them are radii for both circles, or one of them, I should say, is radii for both circles. So AB is a radius for both circle A and for circle B. Right? So this here is a radius for both the circles. A and B there. And this one over here is a radius for circle B. Whoa, that's not even readable. Let's see if I can do it sideways and move it in. And this is for circle B. There we go. It's good enough. And then finally, we have a radius here. And that one is for circle A. All right, so there we have all of our radii. And so these would be radii of congruent circles. So radii of congruent circles are congruent. So if we have all the radii in a circle are congruent, and if we have a congruent circle, it's congruent to all of those radii. Right? So radii of congruent circles are congruent. Right? And so here I have the steps written in again for equilateral triangle, and that's in your notes, and that's going to be the last thing on here. And actually, I'm going to do this one more. I'm going to actually, I think, break this up into 2. No, I'll just do this quickly. I don't want to make this too long, but I think I can do this kind of quickly. So here we are again. All right, so I put the equilateral triangle here, and here's a chance for you to do it. And you don't have to write anything, right, because we have everything already written there, except you should add this, that radii of congruent circles are congruent. So I already have this page in your notes. So I did it once. Let's do it one more time. All right, so you're going to draw a line segment with straight edge. So here at least you have all the steps written out. I won't make it too big because I don't want to go through my words. All right, and then you're going to put the point of the compass on one end. Let's give it a name. So again, A and B. And so I'm going to put the compass on A. Try to anyway. And flip it around. It's pointing the wrong direction. And we're going to draw an arc. Actually, we'll draw. Oops, come on, arc. It's an invisible arc. Why is my arc not drawing anything? Oh, here it goes. Oops, we gotta make sure we go through B. Sorry. Headed the wrong direction. I was so worried about getting it to right. Oops. Was I not paying attention? I forgot to. I was so concerned about getting that to right. I don't know whether I moved that. Bad things happened there. Probably because it's the end of a podcast. Let's try that again. Did I ever, as a trouble making it right, and then I had to move it over, did I ever at any point make sure that it was the same length? I don't think I did. So don't do that. That's a don't do. All right, make sure you check that your compass is open the length of, of AB. And that looks better. Okay, now let's draw the arc. All right, so notice we're going through B, and I'm going to draw it nice and big. Boop. All right, I can continue and draw the whole circle and write all over my words, or I can just stop there. Now I'm going to move the compass. Actually, I should probably read my words since I wrote them out. All right, so we put the point of the compass on one end and the pencil on the other end point, and we drew a circle or part of a circle. All right, and we have to make sure that we intersect at the other end point. Then we put the compass on the other end point, and we repeat step 2. Except in my case, I need to make my compass go the other direction. There we go. All right, so now I make sure I go through point A, and then I keep on going till they intersect. So that's enough of the circle. All right, you don't have to do any more than that. Right, so these are parts of 2 circles. Right, they're still radii, right, because we have enough of the circle there to see that that would be a radii because it goes from center to edge. All right, so we put a point where the 2 arcs meet. There that is. And we connect the 3 points. Right? A and B have already been connected. Let's just connect to the other ones, which would be A, and let's put a C there, and B and C. And what happened to that line? I have an extra little piece. Now that I want to get rid of it, it says, no, I don't want to go away. All right, well, we'll keep you, but you're just moving out of the way then. There he goes. All right, so now these would all be congruent to one another. Right, because they are all radii of a circle. Right, again, this one is a radius, and that's for A and B. This would be a radius, and that's for circle B. And this would be a radius for circle A. So now you know how to, I hope you can read that. So while I'm fixing the A, Now you know how to construct equilateral and isosceles triangles. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and I'll see you in the next podcast. Here's the A. Whee! Bye for now.